What's next?
GrokTALK.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen said, if you like your current health plan, you can keep it. That's not true, Senator. 22,000 New Hampshire citizens have been kicked off their insurance plans. Hospitals in Rochester, Concord, and Portsmouth, they aren't allowed to provide care under the exchange. Senator, you were wrong in your comments. You should apologize for your misleading remarks. I'm calling Senator Shaheen at 750-3004 and telling her I want my doctor back. You should too.
Paid for by SaberPac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio, microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
GrokTALK.
Welcome back to GrokTALK, brought to you by GrokTALK.com, just like it says in the little thing at the beginning there. And, of course, the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers, whose ad we play quite often in appreciation for the space they allow us to do our program.
Indeed.
So we were talking a little bit on the break about what we wanted to cover in the in-between space before our next guest gets here, and two things came to mind. I just tweeted one of them, Ebola's Sandra Flock, which we'll get to, and then...
Oh, you like that one?
I like that one a lot. And then, of course, the other thing that you read that I posted yesterday afternoon from Jonah Goldberg, Obama fatigue is setting in. For him, but he if you go read the Goldberg file, he talks about how as a reporter, as a person who works for National Review and all these other places, he has to pay attention to what's going on, so he has to listen to him. But he says Obama fatigue is setting in. Indeed, I've gone from Obama fatigue through full-on Obama Epstein Barr to end-stage Obama narcolepsy. I hear him talking or hear some MSNBC-type rhapsodizing about how misunderstood he is, and I start dozing off like a truck driver who took the drowsy formula NyQuil by mistake. You could fill a cereal bowl with broken glass and barbed wire shards drenched in hot sauce right below my face. All it would take for me to use it as a pillow is a 30-second loop of Obama saying, "Let me be clear." His speeches are like whale sounds, but with less substance. I'd say they're all white noise, but I don't want to get called a racist.
Yeah, and I just ran across this at Lucien.com as a headline. Casey Hickox, Ebola's Sandra Fluck.
Yeah.
That would be Casey Hickox, the self-righteous, self-indulgent, selfish Maine nurse who flew into New Jersey, got stuck in the Ebola tent of jail, and then decided to jailbreak, drive herself home, coming in contact with so many people, and then refusing to keep herself in hiding in her house.
You think HBO's offered her a series yet?
Well, I bet you somebody's going to line up and do like they did with Sandra Fluck, which is say, why don't you run for state senator next time?
Yeah. She will be the next Wendy Davis.
Maybe.
Who was proven to also be a really bad campaigner, a la Martha Coakley.
Yeah. The most esteemed wife last night was talking about her, and she was commenting, this person's supposed to be a healthcare worker. Yay, good on her for having, volunteered her time. And I don't think anybody begrudges her volunteering the time to go over there and put herself at risk. That's not the issue. The issue is the self-righteousness in which she said, I'm not going to even do the pretense of saying that I'm going to put myself in isolation, just maybe in case.
That is absolutely it. That is the difference. And she's pro-Obama liberal. If I was over there and
she was an OFA activist.
Right. If I was over there and they said you need to quarantine yourself for 21 days before you go public, I would say, just give me a laptop and a refrigerator full of food and I'm good. I'll stay here for 21 days and I will just blog. Or do something. Watch movies, whatever. 21 days off? Are you kidding me?
I am lucky enough to have been telecommuting for a long time. I literally would only have to come out of my house once a week. I could stay in my house, never even step foot outside of my door sill if it wasn't for the fact that I have to come down here to run the live stream, every week. I literally could stay in my house. I'd be okay with that, just like you. Blog. Actually, I wouldn't just blog. I work from my house. Mm-hmm. I would have no choice. It's like, for me, it's It's just another day.
Mm-hmm.
But, the problem is that, like everybody says, it's low contagion in case.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and there's another story I'll probably put up that the CDC decided to yank the poster that they had up online, which said, yes, if somebody has it and coughs, those little droplets can contain the Ebola virus. So yes, it can be
all
spread.
Fluids.
Yeah, all fluids. So it's an aerosol.
And the thing people need to understand about Ebola is that some viruses are more apt to invade certain kinds of tissues than others.
Yeah.
Ebola invades all of them.
Yes.
There is no limitation. Like with AIDS, you need to have certain kinds of tissues in order for the virus to jump. Ebola doesn't care. Any tissue it contacts, it'll immediately try to take over.
Right.
So,
and here's the deal. This isn't like catching a cold. This is a virus that low contagion, but once you get it, you might as well kiss your life goodbye. I mean, it's a 70% to sometimes 80% death rate. And what a way to go. Turns your inside organs into liquid.
It's just bleed from everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, low case of getting it, but if you do, you're dead.
Turns you into a Slurpee.
Oh, what a bad visualization that is.
If you're really large, it's a big gulp. He's I don't know, what is it? Prejudice against fat people, I guess.
Go from a blob to a gulp, huh?
All right, we're drifting. Anyway.
Yes, anyways, but, it's just one of those deals where it's just common sense. And, I'm so tired of being lectured. It's the science. Well, the problem is science is never settled. Take it from me, I've got 2 STEM degrees, one in biology, one in computer science. So I got you covered from the bio to the engineering side. Nothing is, as you...
Wait a minute. Biological engineering. Uh-oh.
Well, we'll do a side tangent on the climate change. I did biological modeling in its infancy, and it was hard. And as they're finding with that, they don't know what they're doing. They don't, as Mr. Cheney said, we don't know what... No, not Cheney. Former Secretary of Defense. What's his name? The unknown unknowns.
I forget.
Yeah.
That was
Rumsfeld.
so last decade.
Rumsfeld. Last decade, yeah.
It was so last decade.
There's so much... It's the hubris of knowledge. Just because we're in the now and we think that we're modern, we think that we know everything. And the older I get, the more I learn, the
you don't know crap.
Well, yeah. And my kids still remind me of that. Although I have kind of gone up in the IQ scale since they've gotten older. But I still realize how much I don't know, how little I really know in the vast knowledge base that's out there. And how many new things they're still yet to be discovered, and how much new stuff that we're rediscovering about old stuff that we thought was settled. And it's just not there. So, change is change. It is just what it is. But, okay, I don't get it.
The angle was wrong.
The angle was wrong. Okay.
That's better. Angle to
Sure.
camera. Angle to camera. Now it's nice and square.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
I do.
But, it... And yet you've got some of these people who just think they know absolutely everything about everything, and then
And then you have Democrats who.
And then we have Sullivan County.
Then you have Democrats who repeat what they say, as if it's true. So, all right. Well, a couple days we have this election thing happening.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We'll get past that, which would be really nice because, it's we've been at this for a while now, and you get tired of it after a while, but. It'll be done, and then we'll get ready for the 2016 which start the day after. So
it pretty much is. And, I do think, Drew Klein had a good column in the Union Leader. I think it was Drew. And again, it's in one of those many bookmarks I have. But talking about how the first in the nation primary distorts New Hampshire politics.
Oh, we've talked about that ad nauseum.
over and over again. And I really think that sometimes I wish Republicans would look at, instead of being lured by all the shiny objects and all of the gold coins that come with it into the state, I wish they'd start looking at the real stuff. And I really wish that they would put the time into, instead of looking at all the glories coming in and hoping that one of those chariots might take them away,
That's true.
to the big game.
That's exactly it, too.
That they'd start looking at, how do we help even the local folks? Most town races are supposed to be nonpartisan. I wish they would become partisan again. I wish we could make the distinctions between one school of thought and the other school of thought, and then grow those people slowly, and get them ready to become good candidates. But they never seem to do that. And lately, in this day and age, as anybody who's been reading Gren and Grok knows, a lot of the people that they just pop right into the top spots turn out to be very big disappointments.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish... Oh, here I go back into a depression again.
They don't do very good at developing their farm team.
No, they don't. That's what it comes down
to. You have to build your farm team. The Red Sox were successful a number of years because they did a great job the decade before building their farm system. They went out and they said, we're gonna grow our own. We're not just going to go shopping for good players who've been working in other people's systems. We're going to grow our own. So they worked on that system, and they came up, and I assume they still do it that way, but for a number of years, they were bringing up really, really good players. Not just good for the team, but good as a resource to go get other players that would fill a slot they really needed.
Correct.
That they didn't have yet. And, we don't do that. I don't see it. The grassroots does it. The grassroots does it. The Tea Party does it. The Liberty groups do it. The Free State Project does it. The Democrats do it.
They do it very well.
But the Republican Party, at least in our state, does it. In other states, they do, but not here. They're not very good at it.
No, and to some degree, it's a few players who are sort of in charge that concern themselves with a lot of other stuff. Look at all the energy that is put into just keeping the first in the nation primary. If you took half of that and put it into the farm teams, we do very well. Doug Lambert, who co-founded Gren and Grok with me, and I mention it just because yes, peace be upon him. He remarked back in 2005, 2004, when I first met him, that at some point the small groups in New Hampshire would take the power away from the parties. Now, I'm not sure that that's happened on the Democrat side, but certainly we saw that happen in 2010, when it really was. All of the small, conservative, traditional New Hampshire groups finally put away their differences and dragged what we thought were a whole lot of good people across the finish line in 2010. And what did, talk about a farm team that grew up by itself and then just said, hey, Republicans, here we are.
This is a farm team that not only dragged those candidates across the line, this farm team helped pick the Speaker of the House and the chairman of the state party, who was then railroaded out on whatever rail they could find.
Yeah. So as far as building the farm team, no, they would rather build a moat and a steel fence around themselves. And yes, I'm talking about the Papa Smurfs and the Five Families.
Yeah, and here's
all
the other
those
thing:
folks.
the county chairs, the town chairs. I think the town chairs get it. I'm not sure about the county chairs, but you guys, what are you doing? This doesn't work. It hurts your candidates. It hurts your funding. I get stories in my inbox all the time about how the NHGOP, and even at the county level, doesn't do crap for their local candidates.
Yeah.
The town chairmen are the only ones who do, and in some towns, they're very selective about who they back if they don't agree with them completely. This is not. These are the same people who are like, we got to have unity. We got to have, and yet you're picking and choosing which Republicans to support based on your preferred outcome, which you say you can't do, but yet you do it every day.
Yeah. And obviously the prime example of that this time was our Mr. I was too drunk to know, David Booton, where they dumped almost $100,000 into a Republican primary in which there were two candidates, Jane Corn